think long term, we've really fractured this relationship with women in a way where it's like, they're not even checking for us, really. Like, they're not, the love is there, because I know a lot of things that happen for Dope Black Dads has happened because black women have facilitated it. But I don't feel the love in the openness way. It's very like considered, measured and controlled of like, I'm watching you.
Now listening to the In My Opinion podcast, the home of edutainment, brought to you by Sakali, DTM and Uzuma. So get your drinks, snacks, relax and enjoy.
To be honest, the start of it was this really pure question that I had as a man. I think when you grow and you move out of the like, I'm going to make money, I'm going to get a wife, I'm going to get a house one, I'm just going to do the escalator relationship thing, and you do it, you're kind of left in your version of being top of the mountain and be like, what do I do now? And that what do I do now question led me to a lot of bigger questions. And ultimately, the answer was, I need to figure out me. And I went on this journey from basically 28 till probably 38 of understanding like, who am I and what do men do? Like, what happens to the men that start off really optimistic in relationships, get married, have kids, and then somehow they're estranged from their children, they're divorced, they're like living in a studio apartment somewhere in a bedroom with like students or something, trying to figure out their life. How do you get there and how do I not get there? And so I had to challenge myself in terms of, who am I? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Is this the best way to doing what I'm doing? What are my values for life? Some people like anchor themselves in religion. Some people anchor themselves in spirituality. For me, I looked at existentialism and I got a lot of answers around how to be. I think men do things really well, but how you do things really matters. I didn't learn that until my mid-30s. So when I said to you about sharing information, it's that type of stuff. Because, you know, I feel like the escalator relationship is the first thing that needs to be analyzed. Is that for you? You meet a person, you date, you hold hands, you have sex, you start a relationship, you then propose, you get married, you have a child, you get a house, you start building this life, you build some savings, then your grandparents, and you go through and then you die, yeah? And because we're all trying to build this thing, that particular design and that pacing may not work for you as an individual. And so if it doesn't work for you, then what are you creating and how do you go about it? I would also say to a lot of men, we built our families, but we're not actually really good at being in our families. So we build them and we kind of stand next to them, look into our family and be like, oh, I got this amazing family. My kids and my wife is amazing, which they are, but we can't sit in it with them. Like, I used to struggle to like play and do puzzles with my kids, be on a Zoom call talking about strategy and change the world, and then come in and just be like, all right, so we've got these 8 blocks and then we're going to do it again, Dad. We're going to do it again. And like, okay, let's do it one more time.
Like thinking, yo.
Like being on the frequency of your children, being in the frequency of your family. When you go and leave the house and leave your kids with your partner for a period of time and you come back in, you can't just come in and just be. You need to check in. What's the mood of the house? What's happened? How's the kids? How's this one doing? All 3 people in the house have their own story. And I would come in and just be like, yeah, and pick a kid up and yo, let's play. But like, what I didn't know is that they've thrown up 3 times. And so me picking them up in front of them in the air and being dad vibes is like the worst thing that you can see. And so just like when I do a lot of work with Dope Black Dads, why I do Men's Circle, it's because a lot of those nuances I didn't know. If you'd never had a healthy relationship with your father and observed them in a healthy way, the nuance of like how they spoke to you, how they moved in and out of the house, how they honored their partners, how they looked after their creative relationship with their children, you don't know. You're running off of vibes and TV ideas. So like Uncle Phil was my reference with like the Carl family from Wife and Kids, but that's not real. Do you know what I mean? Like when your relationship ain't working, you can't bust 2 jokes and fix it. You have to deal with your relationship and what you create for your partners. So there was so much wealth of information I didn't know. I needed to talk to other men that I respected. So when I created the group, it was just like, I really respect you guys. When I see you on Instagram pushing your kid, I'm like, damn, they're doing, all right, I got to do more to myself. And when I spoke to men, I just got this really beautiful, honest, nuanced view of what their life was in a way we didn't do before, because we were just talking about money and careers and, you know, the simple stuff. So the group was a manifestation of my need. And And then when I heard what other people's needs were, I realized that I had some skills that some people didn't have, or I had some perspectives, or I'd done a level of therapy that other people didn't. So I just shared what I knew, and then it turned into a community. And lockdown happened, and it just kind of fell apart because so much wild things were happening. Because it was, if you think about it, that year was like COVID, and then it was like George Floyd.
Yeah.
Those two things happening basically 3 months apart was kind of wild. Like the world locked down, you couldn't go outside. People were inside with their families and their partners in a way they never had. Then they had family members dying. People were losing their jobs. Like there's people in our community who I'm like, yo, what's going on? And they're just like, I think I'm going to be made redundant. And my aunt just died, and she was a nurse. And I'm sick, and I've got it, and I don't know what to do. And like, we can't go outside, and we're stuck inside the house.
It was a sad time,
There was a lot going on. And then we watched someone get murdered in front of our eyes. And every person that I know who've interacted with police and had that feeling, I watched that man like lose his life. It breaks you. It does. And then it went into, the rage went into, what do we do about it? And I was at the forefront of what do we do about it. So between that year, I was going through my own thing. I was like crashing at one point. So it was a really, really powerful time, and a lot of good came out of it, but a lot of challenge came out of it. So everyone that showed up at all of those stages, I have so much affinity for and respect for. And I'm just like, but at some point I had to stop. Like I had to say, look, I'm out because I'm exhausted. And I had to go recharge somewhere else and take some time to myself, which was a really beautiful experience in itself. But it was done really purely from that, and it grew into a community. Now it's just a platform communicating values of what black men need to look at, need to think about, showing really good examples of black dads. And also it's like validating the fact that the way you interact with your child is enough. Which I think also isn't validated often. And I think, you know, I want more of that. I want more men showing up and spending time with their kids, because it's the richest experience you could ever know.
But I guess the difficult part is getting to that point where you can do that. Do you know what I mean? Because I believe every dad would love to just spend time with their kids. But because of where we've come from, like, that opportunity is, do you know what I mean? It's more of, you got to go get it. You know what I mean? So how do we...
you mean like the balance?
Yeah,
you know when
how do you get to that part?
Because a lot of the things you were saying, like resonated with me so mad, because again, me, that's kind of like always been part of the issues I have at home, right? With me and my partner, it's always like it's almost like, bro, you got like a full telescope like to my life. Do you know what I mean? It's like you're running up and down juggling like 3-4 businesses that you're trying to, you know what I mean? Because you're thinking, because I think what my issue is this, right? I think so far ahead of time that I don't live in the moment, right? Because I'm thinking in my head, I have like a vision of what I kind of want to provide for my family. Big house, I want them to have everything they want, everything they need, So I'm always thinking about that. So because of that, I kind of apply this pressure on myself where I'm doing so much. And that's why when you mention like, so now the little, I think I heard this joke one time, I think it was Dave Chappelle, like, oh, I spend 22 hours doing my show, and I spend 10 seconds with my kids or whatever. I don't remember how the joke went. But literally like that, because then when you do get home and it's like, you're unaware completely of what's happened throughout the day or what's been happening throughout the last couple of days. And it's almost like you're not there. But even though you feel like, okay, things are paid for, bills, everything is taken care of.
It's still not enough.
But it's like, do you know what I mean? And then you feel, I don't know what it is as us as dads sometimes, you feel like, you know, because you go there, your kids are coming to hug you, you have a little moment, catch up, you feel like, oh yeah, I've maintained something, right? Until the day you get into that argument and it's like, you know what I mean? And you start to get a whole rap sheet of the things that's been going on that you've never been aware of. Do you know what I mean? How do you balance that?
So there's a couple of things. One, I think the vision you have will, if it's not aligned to the experience, will create a fracture. So the vision that we have, which is like, we want to provide, we want to do the big gesture things. I would say that when you're dealing with a feminine energy, be present to the moment by moment elements, because a daily gift and a daily gesture of I make you a cup of tea will land better than I got you a Louis V bag. And so, cool, they may want a Louis V bag anyway, but I guarantee you, if they don't feel loved on a day-to-day basis, you won't get to the house vision. And that's a part of the mistake that I made, which is I just thought everything's working, but my actual presence and attention wasn't there. I wasn't a great dad when I started Dope Black Dads, and for the first year, I was almost like serving the idea greater than the actual experience, and that's on me. Nobody made me do that. I just thought I was helping people, got trapped in this like ego of like, I'm gonna help, and then just doing. Because doing as a man is a very rewarding experience. It's much better than learning how to be. So learning how to be still in my family is something I had to cultivate after the fact. So abandon the vision. What you need is like daily practices and you need a goal. If your goal is, we need economic freedom and we need to be not trapped by a mortgage, or we need to be able to have a pivot where we can go live somewhere else, then the small details is what will get you there. It's actually making sure that, yes, you earn your money, but where you put your money. If you're using all the money you make to soothe yourself because you're working so hard, it's irrelevant. If your family breaks down at the end of it, that particular part of the mission is a failure. So it doesn't matter. So the big vision is what traps a lot of men, and we don't worry about the day-to-day experience. I think the other thing is that you have to have really good practices. Like I think when we talk about providing and protecting as men, we think Liam Neeson, someone's going to come and kidnap our kids and we got to be able to whoop their ass. So we'll go gym and we'll be like, yeah, I can protect my family. And we don't think about other types of protection. Like psychological safety in your house is huge. If your house is chaos because you're not creating that psychological safety, if your partner doesn't feel safe, they don't know where you are. You're like, I'll call you later on. I'm busy. That language, that dismissive language creates fractures. That means your house is not psychologically safe. If your children are getting yelled at, snapped at, instructed, they're not being invited into a space, your home is not a psychologically safe home. So our protection is protecting everything from outside, but also from within. Same thing for providing. Like I'm providing a direction, but I may not necessarily be the leader. The thing about a lot of men is that we believe you have to just be the leader at all costs. Some women are better equipped to lead in a particular part of the mission and we don't defer. Like I make the money, but the money might not be good with money. I can make it, but I'm not good at managing it. That might be your partner's realm. It's like, actually, I'm gonna make the money, I'm gonna hand it to you. You do the things that need to be done with it. I just need 1K for myself to do my things. Around, but the rest of it is yours. You handle everything else. Any excess, put it where it needs to go. And this is why I say, it's not to say that a man is foregoing, it's knowing your limitations. Knowing your partner's gift and marrying the two. Any shortfalls, hire it in, pay for someone else to do it. Like you need to solve those problems and those gaps. But like I've been with people who are great at math and great at finances, great at just being budgeting. And I'm just big picture. I'm just making it. It has to be teamwork. The last thing I was quickly say, because this is a really important time in terms of finding your partner. Some people want to be led, and this is not gender focused. Some people want to be led. Some people really want to lead, and some people want a partnership. There are 3 different types of relationships. You got to find your person in the noise. Because if you listen to what podcasters tell you, it'll be like, you're not a man if you're not leading, right? But if you're just not naturally a leader in that realm, you will suffer. By the way, trying to hold that space, and you will get it handed to you, and you won't be able to maintain any form of relationship. So it's really important to know that if you need a partner, as someone that can equate to you in the realm, I handle this, you handle that, then you got to speak to that and manifest that in the relationship and the choices that you make. But don't try and find like a patriarchy princess and then make her your partner. Or ask her to lead. Like, and this is what I'm saying. I never judge anyone for who they are. It's just incredibly important to know that your mirror has to be able to hold space that you can't. And that's what Equally Yoked is all about. It's not about just like someone that's as lit as you are.
I think that's there's another conversation that needs to be had. And I know that's completely different to what we're having now. Is also, I just feel like a lot of men, maybe women too, but I can't speak for a while. I feel like a lot of men are not equipped to pick the right partner to the point you're just making now. Like, because I feel like part of that also comes to the fact that a lot of men don't know themselves. Like, remember you talked about how you done the work between that 28 to like
was too late, by the way.
But you've done it, right?
Yeah.
So but I feel like which is like what you're trying to do now, essentially, like maybe getting this. That's why you've created the platform. You created maybe that message can kind of get to the younger guys sooner before because you've been through that. Because I generally feel that's a big problem in our society because man them don't know themselves, and because of that, you can't then start to know what you need to be able to balance, to be able to create that balance, to be able to have that perfect match. So I feel like that's also a problem.
So I'll say this, and one of the things that came up in therapy was this idea of a mother wound that many men have. And so because dads were absent or weren't doing their full weight, it meant that mothers were stressed out and the relationship with their mothers are fractured.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, I've observed people talking to their partner wicked and bad in a mad way as men. And I'm like, I can see them almost as a child talking to their mother. And I feel like when you have those type of wounds, your partnerships show up in the exact same way. It's a massive problem. So many black men need to heal that relationship with their mother and understand it and understand why they were the person that they were. Also, it's the same thing for their dad. You have to start to forgive people because you carry that thing and it impacts your life. We think we're honoring our mums by like not having a relationship with our dads. Like, my dad didn't do this, so like, F him.
Yeah.
But what we're actually doing is cutting off a part of ourselves that we won't understand.
Yeah.
So my whole thing is that if you have a dad that's even in your life, like you can still ring him, regardless of what will come out of his mouth, listening to him and understanding as much as possible will arm you to know that you don't recreate the same thing that he created. And that mother wound, and also people have a father wound, but that mother wound for so many men is what is recreating a lot of this fracture. And so it's important to investigate that.
In their relationship with their
other partners. And to be honest, with women in general, because I think there's a lot of events that happen. Like when I listen to testimony of, I always talk about black women as a primary because I think if you listen to them, you get the overall view of feminism. That's a great way to start and understand it. But I'm really for it in terms of listening because I grew up in a matriarchy's table. Like my grandmother, my aunt, my mum, my sisters, the aunts will all sit there and I listened to them and I would hear the testimony of how they experience men. And for large parts, I would look at them and think, you've mastered this because you got a community. And they used to run men. Like men couldn't come in and try to do too much because like I've seen a lot. They won't have it. But I think like when you force women into their masculine in that way, it still has an impact. Healthy masculinity is incredibly important and powerful. But also when it goes left, it's one of the darkest energies ever. That's right. So we have to be responsible. And this is why I try to hold my friends account in terms of if you're off, I come and visit you. Like in my circles, if something's not right and I observe that you're withdrawing and you're hiding, I just turn up at your house because I know what that energy can create long term and it's upon us to fix it. Because I think long term, we've really fractured this relationship with women in a way where it's like, they're not even checking for us really. Like they're not, the love is there because I know a lot of things that happen for dope black dads has happened because black women have facilitated it. But I don't feel the love in the openness way. It's very like considered, measured and control of like, I'm watching you. And I feel like that's a massive problem. It's a massive. But what can we say as men? We're going to advocate that it should be any other way. Like, no, trust us. We're doing better. So I get why it's there, but I just want us to be able to work on rebuilding that. And that's our intentional element to bring to the table. And then you can start saying to black women, you know, I have a view and I want to lead you here and I want to build this with you. And the trust will be there to allow us to execute. But for now, most of them have got one eye on their own life and their own survival because unfortunately, for too many generations, it hasn't been delivered. There's work to do.
Damn.
Wow.
I'm lost.
I've got so much work to do.
So essentially what you're saying, we need to fix this.
Yeah, because I knew, you know, the maddest thing, I was looking at this guy and I could read the question he's got in his face.
No. The reason why I'm saying
he's basically trying. Do you think? Go on, ask your question.
No, essentially what he's saying, like we gotta fix it, but I feel like because I can't remember who I was talking to about this the other day. I feel like it's damaged beyond the point now where I don't even think the black women are even willing to give us the opportunity to fix it.
No, they are, but you've got to be a man of your
you know
word.
what I mean?
And so
Anything can be
if you say you're going to create a family with someone, that's what you got to create at all costs. You can't then renege on that and leave them carrying the torch on your behalf because whatever life was happening for you or you fell out with her. And I feel like a lot of men are in relationships not to build family but to heal their relationship from a feminine energy. So because you're looking for love, you're looking for almost a form of parenting yourself. And when your child comes, you will know. I don't know if you two have kids.
Yeah, I've got
you do. The element of energetic, it shifts. It's no longer about you and them.
No,
there is a life that needs to be created for. And I feel like in that time, a lot of men get lost. It's one of the most vulnerable times for men where it's like, yo, for the first 4 years of your kid being here, and if you have two, you might be fourth in your house.
Literally.
And being emotionally fourth in your house, yeah, like we will say that, yeah, men are meant to do that. Stoicism, all those things, cool. Say those things, but in reality, to do it day to day, which is like 365 times is 1 year, do that 4 times. That's literally like almost 1,500 days. You got to sit there and live in that experience of like maybe being second and deprioritized back to back. And it takes a toll on some men. They're not able to do it. And it's because they want that feeling that they wanted from young and it wasn't there. So I say the mother wound is something to be investigated by men, 100%. But we need to keep to our promise.
Well, I'm way down the bottom of that list, boy.
Bro, the thing is, what I was, and I don't want to filibuster too much, but what I will want to say, because it is important, is when I started the journey because my friend who was really close to me, who we were like literally like pea in the pod, he went through a mental health episode. And I was like, this guy is me. We just grew up in a different part of town. How is he not okay? And I needed to investigate, could that be me? That's how I started. Then the second part is like, I always felt like I had an element of anger in me. Like I was ready. If someone honked the horn at me, I'm
Same
like,
here, boy.
I want to get out of the car.
Have you gotten over that?
Yes.
Well, I need to know how, because I've got that right now.
Listen, so all these little things that we're doing where our bravado will get us into certain situations. And we feel like the way to honor ourselves and our pride is to be that person.
Yeah.
You've got to go on the journey with it. And I feel like it helped my energy in the house with my children, with my partner, with my family, with my mother. I've been able to heal so many relationships in the last 10 years from developing this practice. It makes you a man of community. It makes you a man of standing, a man of values that you can bet your watch on. My people know that if I say I'm coming, I'm coming. If I say yes, my yes is yes. But they also know as a result, my no is I can't. And don't push that boundary because I don't have the capacity. When you build a life like that and people can put a watch by you, your life changes. And I think going back to some foundational principles is that simple. It's not a big idea. It's not a vision and I'm going to take us here. It's just day-to-day principles. You wake up. If your family see you wake up, go to the gym, pray, connect to your kids, play with them, do the school run, sit there and work, do dinner, check in on everybody, calling people, you okay? What's happening in family? Would you need me to be mum? You need me to be somewhere? I'm there on Saturday. I'm going to be there Saturday morning. They watch you do that. They'll get out of your way. But because of many of us are like shucking and jiving a little bit and emotionally we're not strong enough to be that consistent, stable person, it means that they watch you and they're like, nah, I got one eye over here because I got to check my stuff because you're not doing what you're meant to be doing. So understand that you are a mirror to everything that's happening in your life right now. So I had to accept that I hadn't done that early enough. So I had to lose some things, painful things that I did not want to lose. And when I lost them, I took a minute. I took 2.5 months, maybe 3 months to myself, and then I went straight to work. And since that day, I have kept my word on all my things. I don't play. My kids come first. I look after their mother to the nth degree. She can literally do whatever she wants, and I got her. And I hope she knows that, and I tell her to her face, but I hope she understands because we are a family no matter what happens. So I feel like we need to build that relationship, but it starts with you and your behaviors, your daily behaviors and attitudes. It just helps you.
What would you say like has been one of the hardest thing of being a dope black dad? What would you say one of the hardest things?
I think the intersection of being a man, and racial challenges, being a man and doing family along those lines is really difficult. Like we do have a unique experience as black men. None of this is like, just do it. It's a process. It's a test and learn. And I've fallen down way after I've had the awareness because the practice is hard. You're asking, now it's been 5 years of consistency, rigid consistency, hard. There's days that I want to cut corners, I want it easy. So I think the hardest part is that intersectional experience and being honorable and still being surrounded by things that aren't honorable. Do you know how easy it is to like go to someone and just like, there's some people have stolen from me. I've been threatened more times doing this than I've ever been in my whole life. I haven't been threatened this much since I was 15 and people were stealing change face phones.
I'm trying to understand though, how? In what form? How does that happen?
Because a part of your practice is, I said you have to lose some things. You attract people based on the corners you cut, the mistakes you make, how easy you are to manipulate and coerce. When you're not anymore, you become unreasonable.
Yeah.
Now it's something else. Now it's like a challenge. Now it's like, this guy thinks he
thinks all
but
that.
I have
I see
to.
what you mean.
My commitment to it is so great. I can't even be worried about if it disturbs somebody else's peace. My mission is mine. My kids must navigate this time, and I do not want them to be afflicted by the challenges that I went through. To do that, I know who I need to be. So you do have to fall out with people. The idea of being unreasonable and self-interested is so frowned upon. And it's so negative in the eyes of some because people used to abuse that idea. But you do need to be that. I need to be unreasonable. I can't give you more than I have willingness to give. I can't cross this boundary for you on this one occasion. I just have to be no. You will upset people because you're doing that.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I need to take a trip out that book.
You like thinking you got a lot of work to do, yeah?
Yeah, I think I'm too reasonable. I need to become unreasonable.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
No, man, I don't think you're reasonable. I don't know what you're talking about. This guy's talking about.
Guess what? I don't care what you think.
There you go. Double down.
Oh, you're starting right now.
What is your favorite thing? Because, by the way, when this comes out, it'll probably be Father's Day.
Oh, sick.
So, what is your favorite thing about being a father, and what does your best Father's Day look like?
The best thing about being a father is observing your values and worldview being injected in your children and then playing it out.
Yeah.
So if my son comes to me with a problem, I'm able to communicate with him, give him ideas, tools, tactics, and then him doing it and processing that it works.
That's
and
it.
then going, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling thing.
That's it.
There's certain things I ain't got to talk to my son about. Like he can cook, he can look after himself. Yeah,
How
he
does
can
he?
wake up. He's 8. But
Oh,
he
wow.
wakes up in the morning,
yeah.
he'll get ready, and I'll wake up to him reading and doing his daily read book. He's become efficient because I've shown him the value of doing those things and what it will mean. What he's going to get stuck with is what that means compared to other people.
Yeah.
As social creatures, he'll struggle with when his friends pull away from him because he's not relenting. And he started to have that already. Some of them have tried to neg him and all that type of stuff. And I've been clear, like, this is why they neg you. This is what it means. You will find your tribe in your destination.
Come on.
And so I'm building him to be resilient, but it's hard because you want your friends, your friend that you met when you're 5 is vibes. Like, I want to hang out with you. But if your friend doesn't understand that you do football training 4 days a week, you go to bed at 7:30 because you follow the diet of a football player, because of that, they're going to try and offer you things. They're going to try and take you out of that integrity. And you've got to be able to hold them to account and coach them through that process of what that means. So watching my children become who they are,
Yeah, it's a gift.
it will change you forever when you release them and watch them and you're like, everything I said they do, they get it. But now it's their thing. And they don't even look at it as like, dad tells me. It's like, they're not performing for you. That's just what they know the world to be. I think that's the sickest thing. And a good Father's Day for me, I don't need much, at this point. For me, I feel the family I've built and the way that I've built it, based on the experience that I had and where I've come from, I am over the moon with the life I have. Like I think that I really appreciate my co-parent. I feel it's so hard to get to that place, and we're there. Yeah. I don't even like sometimes speaking on it because I feel I don't want to manifest.
Don't put no energy. Don't put no energy around it. Don't put no energy around it.
It works. We talk every day, and we have a weekly call that's deep, and then we have a regular check-in on what's going on. My children are supported. If I'm not there, she's there. We're interchangeable. Like, it's really hard to do, but it's happening, and I'm touching all wood and whatever material is going to make that manifest.
No,
to stay
it's going to stay that way because you're doing the work.
Yep.
You're constantly doing the work. You're holding yourself accountable. So I feel like, you know, the energy you put into the universe, I generally think that's what you get back. So if you're doing it, there ain't no way that's going to change personally. And if it does change, you would know why.
Powerful. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. That's
But the vibe I'm getting, there might be a... Oh, you don't...
That's so dumb. Say it out loud. Put it into the universe.
No.
Don't put it into the universe. Don't put it into the
Honor and
universe.
integrity, your hands are doing a madness. Bro.
Yeah.
Your hands are doing a madness, bro.
He said,
You know what I mean? Like, I'm
No, say it, bro. Yeah.
a comeback.
I will
What do
tell you
think?
this, yeah. I never want to disrupt somebody's life journey again without being able to fully honor and be the person that I promised to be.
Oh, yeah, okay.
word.
I would like to leave our amazing relationship as it is and continue to build on it because it's cooking and I'm happy. Let's not.
Yeah, all right. Fair.
I might start saying that, the honor integrity.
To honor the integrity.
You have to do that mad thing.
It's like a massage. Anything that means.
He was doing some chakras. I don't know what he was doing.
You got me thinking what my perfect father day would look like. And I've, you know, when I first got when my kids could actually do Father's Day and they would do their handmade cards, I'd be like, brother, do you know what I've been
You're
through?
bougie though, man. This guy.
No. I was like, bro, mum, you couldn't buy man, you know, like
guy wants his 8-year-old
Mother's
to buy
Day,
him
I
an
pattern
LV.
everything, I take you.
Yeah,
you
bro,
know,
get out of your mind of that. 'Cause
Thank
you
you.
will hang
That's very
yourself.
authentic, isn't it?
No, it's an honest thing, and
Yeah.
I was that person. But I'm telling you, it lands at a time where you least expect it. The point where you want it, it doesn't come, and the second you're just like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah.
Bro, I had the best birthday, the Father's Day I had came when I wasn't even in the union in the same way. So it was like, but because I had committed and delivered, it then became a thing. You know, this one coming up, I already got the pre-plan because I got asked the questions of what I want, and I was sitting there and I was like, that's kind of sick.
Bro.
No, but again, it's a manifestation and a mirror. It's a mirror of where you are.
The manifestation.
Bro, the universe don't lie, you know. I'm telling you.
Facts.
No, but that's my point. So coming to the point where I'm at now, I look forward to the cards. I look forward.
Oh, you look forward to it?
Yeah, and to even compare them to last year's cards.
Sick.
Because when they give me the
designs
cards,
get better. The lines get straighter.
and they tell you why. This is that. Even like my daughter, I gave her my earrings. So I went I went to an MRI scan, and they told me to take off your earrings. So I just gave them to her. She lost them. So then the other day she's like, oh, you know, for Father's Day I'm getting you earrings. And I'm like, were you supposed to be surprised? Or you supposed to tell me?
Yeah, you meant to tell
So I'm just letting you know because I know you're going to go buy earrings. Don't buy no earrings, right?
How old is your daughter?
She's 7. And when I tell you, that touched me, I felt bad because I bought earrings. as you
Yeah,
can see.
this
But
guy.
the thought process
knows
she
you
put
so
into,
well.
yeah. And I look forward to that. Like, yo, I actually have kids that actually care about me. You know what I mean?
That's
so,
powerful.
yeah, man. That's what
My kids, they got their own bank account. I think they was asking me the other day, what's your shoe size, Dad? I was like, cool, so no.
They don't know how to surprise, do they?
They don't know.
Nah, but you know,
But I don't care.
I mean, they
bro.
can just go check your shoes, but nah, they're like, nah.
No, my kids be
It's
buying me
beautiful.
stuff. Last time I think they took me breakfast. There's that spot in Catford. I can't remember what it's called. They do like breakfast, a proper dope one. Proper like, yeah, they took me out there last time.
that's sick, man.
Yeah, man. So I don't know what they got planned this time.
Listen, our blessings come not really in the same way. It's a different energy, but when
Yeah.
they do come, it feels good, man.
It feels good. Facts.
Amen to that.
I just wanted to touch on, so obviously you're father to a son. And as you know, right now, London is
Read my
very
mind,
mad.
yeah.
Yeah, you know, knife crime and all that stuff. And you know, we've got a general election coming. Rishi Sunak's talking about reintroducing national service. What's your views on that? Do you think it will help? Getting the man on the front line?
No, look, honestly, I think it's a performative strategy and it's not based in reality. And they've already said that there's no way that they can enforce it, which then makes it something that they're speaking to the older voters because they know it will get them on side. But I think the most important thing is, you know, we grew up with youth clubs, we grew up with a lot of investment in young people, and those spaces was our safe haven. Because even the most scariest of men, we went there. We used to do music, play table tennis, play pool. And those places allowed us to stay in our area, but out of our estate.
Yeah.
And it meant that there was a door, there were some adults around, and we could have supervised fun. We still did what we want, and we could leave if we wanted to.
Facts.
So they were safe havens for us. And I think when you lose those, I think it becomes a massive, massive fracture in our communities because you're just exposed to the world. So I look forward to a longer term, more viable youth strategy for this country because we have lost that. But I think when you intersect it with blackness, it becomes a particular type of like psychosis that we're creating amongst us. And I'll be really honest, like it always is going to take money. And the thing that misses from our community is private money to couple with public money from our communities, like real benefactors that are just going to be like, our solution is this. And we're going to put people here and we're going to make sure that it's staffed and it's got things that they need to do.
Facts.
And I look at someone like Murky. And I personally, Stormzy is my favorite. I'm 40, so young artist. To me, he's like part of that generation. Out of all of them, the way he moves is the best. He's by far the most important, like, young black man. He's actually a man, just a black man around, because he really puts his money where his mouth is. He orchestrates the people that want to work with him in a way that they're committing to his vision. And that murky space will help a lot of people. And we don't even, it hasn't really even permeated how important that is. We kind of take that stuff lightly. So yeah, I feel like we need more people like him, but we need
example,
the GLA, the mayor, the Labour Party working in collaboration to be like, right, you're going to be the face of our strategy. We're going to put 400 million into it. We need one of those in every major city.
Yeah, like you.
Because he can reach people in a way that no politician can.
In a way they can, yeah.
We don't do enough of that. Like public and private partnerships, they're called PIPs. So you look into them and really build a relationship with ruling parties. Like, I don't think we should even be too precious about the party until election time. Okay. So if the Tories got in again, I got to figure out how to work with this and get the most out of it rather than sit there yelling at it from Twitter. I got to be in it and figure out how do I get some money to get stuff done. And I think that's where a lot of communities have become agnostic with the political process. When it's coming around to election, you want us to work for you. This is our demand. We're sitting there being like, we vote this way and we don't do this. And it's like, but everyone else is donating to those organizations. And that's why they're able to build a relationship and get certain stuff done, regardless of who's in power. So it's a real strategy, but I understand the historic significance because it's difficult. But a lot of people vote for their economic self-interest rather than like their cultural beliefs. It's those things as well that we need to be present to.
No, that's facts, man. That's the reason why when you was asking me about, I was like, I don't know if I want to, who I want to vote for, because either side have not said nothing that shows that they want to do something. They want to create like a permanent like a long-term infrastructure or some sort of solution for the community, like for our community. Anyways, I'm not hearing nothing about.
I'm gonna be honest. We need to be mindful that if there is an electoral cycle and no people vote for the party that is in power over a 10-year period, then we're not involved. We're not on the court politically. If Labour Party get a majority and they're projected to win, I saw the latest projections, it was some absurd number.
Yeah, it's crazy,
Like absurd. They're going to dominate in a way. If they win that and the dialogue from the black community is we don't fuck with you because of X, Y, and Z, and they win it anyway, they won't bother serve us again. What's the point?
So how do we best go about that then? To be able to then get, if they are not, obviously, clearly, a lot of these issues, like you're talking about knife crime. This is something that's been going on for how long now? We know there's a pandemic of it, right? And we know what community is like greatly impacted by that. It's like it's not news. So it's like, what does it have to take for them to put that in their manifesto and their plan and wherever it is in there? Do you know what I mean? Wherever.
Well, youth violence is a national issue.
Right.
It shows up as an intersection of London because of the economic disparity between people that have and do not. Yeah. Also, the way London's designed is that you can have a £2 million house and an estate across the street.
Correct.
So everybody is amongst each other. You get to see it firsthand. And I think it does impact black people more, but also victim and perpetrators. It's not just one or the other. Yeah. We're not like psychologically more violent than any other race of people. I think a lot of that is because of the economic challenge. The cost of living has impacted and shredded our community and resources in a way that we don't even really understand the scale of it. Many of us are living survival to survival in a way that it's not even check to check, it's survival to survival. I get to day 30 and I reset into 30 days of survival again. This is why I say private money is going to become really important, because even the government don't have money. The money that they took out was on a higher interest rate, which means that they're not going to have excess money to pay for the things that they believe in. So this is why the manifesto has been shredded into very focused areas. And in that will not be the 4 million black people that exist here.
Talk about it.
It cannot be centered.
I want to rephrase that. I think they wouldn't have enough money to put into things they don't believe in. I think that's where I'm at with it.
Well, I think traditionally, the reason why I think this form of labour is manifested is because this is the first time Labour have said we want to win. And the point, if they can win without appeasing a particular community, it's seen as inefficient almost.
Yeah.
From a political point of view. We have to get the seats that we lost, which is the red wall, which is the working class, low income cities all around the country. If they're not voting for a Labour working party, then that's a problem. And that's something that they've redressed, but also at the cost of Islamophobia and anti-blackness at times. And so 100% we hold them account for their behavior and what they've done, but we also have to be present that we don't then take ourselves off the political map completely, because we're not on the court right now if they're able to get 400 seats without really having a strategy that involves race and equality. They do have a race and equality strategy because, well, I'll say up until about 4 or 5 weeks ago, there was regular meetings being had about how do they do that. I think there's going to be some things that they just do.
Yeah.
They're not campaigning on it.
Right, okay.
But I think they're just going to do it when they have the majority because they know the conversation distracts voters.
Okay.
So if you think about things like trans rights, things like racial equality, these are the topics that everyone gets caught in the mud on.
Yeah.
And like, it's clear to me that these are human beings and they deserve to be seen and honored. But I don't think that they can sit there and get lost in a conversation about trans lives right now. Because in 6 weeks when they're in power, they can change the equality bill just like that. I'm not saying, I don't have inside knowledge.
Yeah, but you're just
that's what my belief and hope is. If it doesn't happen by Christmas, then may we go to town on them all day. But I genuinely believe that those divisive issues are what have prevented the Labour Party from being in power historically, because they go off into issues that ultimately, if you think about the national scale, don't even represent 1% of the population.
Facts,
That doesn't allow them to sit there and have a conversation with the people who can't afford to pay their rent. So they're going for the big things. My hope is that they then turn that into, now that we have such a majority, it's bang, 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 bang. We undo some things, and we, as long as I think anything that doesn't impact economically, they can just do straight away without even having to say anything. And I'll be interested to see if they do it and hold their word. But let's wait until Christmas.
We'll have to wait until Christmas.
And if it's not, then let's set fire to some stuff. No,
just quickly before we finish, I know you were passionately speaking about the fact that you feel like young boys need to learn more about misogyny in schools. I just want to touch on that, like why you think it's important, because we know there's a rise of,
I saw you on the, it was a Good Morning, and then it was so funny though, because I was watching your interaction with the panelists, obviously the host and stuff. They were more, you was more advocating for women, like in terms of men need to do more, but they were more talking about there's some women too can be like this, and some women, because it was a quite interesting
I think
dialogue.
the disparity was they were more like pushing that it starts in the home.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah.
Nah, yes, home does, but we also need it taught more in school.
Yeah, there's 100% duality, but if you create a environment where parents are fragmented and you push and celebrate for that and you advocate it as a norm, that then becomes easy, because it's not even really about male, female, mum and dad. It's about two. It's just more hands on deck in your parenting is better. So that also then provides for same-sex marriages and couples and all those things. So two people are better than one in a home and in a family. And creating a culture where I don't have to work 3 jobs to survive means that I'm in the home when my kid comes home and I can engage them. If you're stressed out trying to pay bills and you're constantly being defeated by society and every single nook and cranny, you don't have the capacity to raise your children in a healthy life. So if we create those conditions and then they're still not doing it, we can make it about the parents. We keep, and there's, on certain platforms and certain conversations, there's this like silver bullet in their head is that it's all the parents' fault. If you are a parent or if you're a teacher, if you're a nurse and you're frontline doing any of that stuff, you give everything. If you meet teachers are using their own money and they don't get paid enough to help children out, buying them clothes, food,
Facts.
getting them to places and back. If you are a parent, you already are at capacity. If I have my kids for like the 6 weeks holiday, we split it 3 weeks, 3 weeks. I take my kids for 3 weeks. And it's intense. So if you don't have support and you don't have money and then you've got these kids every day for a year, you're talking about people who just are stretched. And then you're asking them to manage their children in a way that's like nutritionally healthy, education, dress perfect, like just it's not realistic. And so we have to have the conditions first, and it's the government's job to create the environment to raise healthy families.
I agree.
If they're not doing that, then we hold them to account first, and then we talk about the parents and the model that they're using in terms of raising their kids. So I'm really big against violence against women and girls. Unfortunately, I was raised around, I had a relapse memory of going to knock for one of my best friends in primary school. And I remember my friend used to live literally 100 yards from the school. It was like the block next to the school. And I would walk with my brothers and sisters, get to that block, go see him, and then we were walking together. One time I went to go knock on the door, and I just remember hearing just dull thuds and screams. Like gut-wrenching screams and thuds and crying, and then it just went silent. I couldn't even knock on the door. I didn't really know what it was, but I knew it weren't right. And as I got older, I understood not only those types of events, but the scale in which women have had to interact with men in the most violent ways. And I genuinely understand why they have fear and trust. So that social media thing of like, would you rather be trapped in a forest with a bear or a man? This is where it's got to. And if you don't see that as an alarm about your individual behavior, then you just don't get it.
You just don't get it.
So really teaching my son about equity in a really important way, but also to be powerful for yourself. Don't sit there and feel like you have to be small for a woman. You can be powerful. You got to be honorable. And you got to communicate. And do you know how to communicate? If you're having a strong feeling, what is that root of that feeling? And I feel like, again, a lot of men aren't able to communicate expansively about, you actually hurt my feelings. If you can't say that to somebody, like if, that happens in just general social discourse, that's not gendered. But if you hurt my feelings and I can't say that, and I'm looking at you like I got to do something back to you to get my equilibrium back, or to get myself feel better. The things that men will do to get equal is going to be physical. Yeah. And what a woman would do to feel equal is verbal. So they will say things, or they will gossip and misinform, or whatever that is. That's their thing is. But there's no way you can equate the two. Yeah. There's no 100%. Way you can equate the two things. 100%. And so sometimes I think a lot of men are looking for that equity in, but women do. And I'm just like, take away all the noise. Just look at yourself. And I used to have interactions with women in my 20s, and I was like, I didn't understand. I was just like trying to love. I was in my lover boy era. I just want to love this person. You're amazing. But not really even understanding what being 20, 21 and being in a relationship even means. You're just trying to fucking make it honest. If we're being realistic, it's just sex and honesty. Like, I'm just trying to be like, I want you to be with me and to love me. And but you don't understand the concepts and what guides the behavior and what the consistency is. And this is why I think it's really important for us as young men, how you develop us matters, because the knock-on effect is crazy. So it's really important that you grab nephews and young people around you, just give them game as much as you can. Like, maybe if someone who's 19 don't want to hear from you because you're a grown man with life and cars and family, but whoever you can grab them, give them a window into you, and they're going to ask you very basic things, and you're going to be like, man, no, don't do that, man. Like, I just saw a guy at the train station, and he grabbed this girl. They were play fighting, but he grabbed this girl, and I ran my window down. I was like, hey. Just simple, because like he thinks it's a joke, but it becomes a manifestation of a behavior of what you can do. And it's like you're play fighting and grappling, and it's just like, bro, optically it looks nuts anyway. You'll find yourself being drawn up by bare people. So just like as young men, if we learn that skill and that art of discipline and actually just walking away, that boundary
walking
of
away,
like,
yeah.
if my boundaries are crossed, I leave.
Me, I love walking away. Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Like if I came here and you guys were on some next thing and I was like, I don't think this is for me, I'll just get up and go home, you know. I'm not gonna make a point and sit down and get by the fire. It's just it's not for me. I'm not every space is mine. So I think when we learn that in relationships that we don't have to fix, control, mold women, it's just like, oh, this is not there's no alignment. Alignment is a really good word. There's no alignment here. I'm gonna remove myself because I don't think this is gonna work.
Yep.
You can save yourself some stuff.
Some headache, some prison time.
Certain alignments I should have.
But I also feel like, to your point as well, though, I also feel like do you also agree, like, obviously there are men as well, because we have to mention that, who are also suffering DV as well?
No, I've been in an abusive relationship. This girl would hit me with whatever she could find.
Yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, you have
And
situations
I remember one day I was bleeding from my mouth and I was like...
And because they know you're not going to do nothing because of the kind of person you are.
I can't even put that into the narrative. The point is that she didn't like my freedom, my ability to my liberty. It would frustrate her. And like if I was just like at uni and I was everybody's friend and I was ACS president and she'd be like, who's these people? And I was like, well, everyone comes to my meeting, so I know everybody. And
Exactly.
It would really disturb her. And then one day she just hit me and I was just like, yo.
Man, bleeding from the
But
mouth.
it happened over like a 6-month period. And I was like, I didn't know I was in an abusive relationship. I didn't know. She was older than me. I just was in love. She was a bad. I was like, yo, you're beautiful. And I'm trying to love this person. And they're just hitting me with ashtray. She put a cigarette out on my neck. Just stuff.
What?
Yeah, listen, bro. I went through it. And I didn't know that was...
They're trying to get you to give up the plug instead of
Listen, my mom made it clear from day one.
What?
You never, like, the never was strong.
Yeah.
And it was clear to me that it's not for me to do that back. But you find yourself in these type of environments and then you start normalizing something, an acceptance of it, or actually, no, I got to hold her because I'm like, none of it. I don't want none of it. So now if you raise your voice to me, it's unacceptable and I'm out. Because for me, that's a lack of discipline.
Yes.
I never have to raise my voice. Them days are done. And so I think that that's a cultivation of a long-term development that you have to go through. Men do go through DV, but it's not at the scale.
Okay.
And it doesn't happen in a way where men are threatening their life every day, believing they're going to die. England aren't losing and women are coming, or Sex and the City premieres coming out and they don't then turn around and start battering men. It's not the same thing, and we keep conflating it and it dishonors the real experience. We have to talk about it as an but we've got to first acknowledge the scale and the intensity in which men are doing it to women. Otherwise, it's not a valid conversation. You're point scoring. So I always try to be careful with my language because I don't want to sully the importance of the overall message. Men definitely go through things. They're more likely to go through a psychological abuse and a form of coercion and manipulation, and those things all happen. We had a powerful conversation in one of our groups around men not even feeling like, if they don't feel like having sex, they're not allowed to say.
Facts.
Yep.
It's like you get called gay, you get told that you don't think I'm sexy, or you're cheating on me. All the things you get accused of the back of just like, today is not, I had a stressful mental day. And I feel like there are subcultures that are created, but we can't make these points as a consequence to the main point. These are that happen, and they always happen better in our own spaces between us. They're really powerful. I don't like centering women in anything that men are experiencing. It's about us and our work, and we have, because we're in a patriarchy, we have the ability to control way more variables than a woman does. And that's an important element, and we need to be able to do that and be that protector provider for the spaces.
I totally agree with you, but I just brought that up only because of you're going to have those few people in the comments, but women do this, women do this.
It's a responsible thing to do, but we have to contextualize even the framing of it to make sure it's not a conflation.
Because to your point, femicide rates right now are
Matt, like I saw some guy, he's Muslim, and he stabbed his Christian mother of his children. She was pregnant. He strangled her, so he strangled her. And I'm looking at this young girl and I'm like, that breaks my heart. That's common, possible, and accepted in any way, shape or form. And that frightens me for what my daughter would ever experience, but for the people that I know that have to experience. So I just don't play in those regards, and I like to be clear, because I think women need to hear from men that we're just working on it, we're figuring it out, we're holding men to account in action right now, and we're not trying to find the grey area. Like, this isn't a mathematical problem, this is not an economic problem. Like, this is a problem with men and our relationship to women. And I always say, just start at the mother wound, understand the theory, what the work is, and follow the guidance, and you'll start unraveling some of the things that you understand and how you feel about certain things. And actually, you can make a conscious choice as an adult whether you challenge them or not.
Wow.
Anyone else thinking to be in the comments with the whataboutism, you can't compare it.
Not today, man. Do it in 6 months' time. But not today, man.
Not now. We need to start making some headway in that first before then we fight. We need to take one step at a time.
Women are out here killing men.
So yeah.
I just haven't met
But nah, man, that's dope. But obviously, I think we got to wrap up now. But I'm thinking, Father's Day is around the corner. What message you have for the fathers out there? Like, where do they start from to start making some changes?
The easiest thing I can share with them is, like, every dad is, when you wake up, make sure you give a clean 10 minutes minimum. If you've never done anything and you're struggling, just 10 minutes with your children. Go in their room, engage with them, be with them. Like, whatever they're going through, go through it with them. If they need cereal, make it with them. Yeah. Involve them. You pass me the milk, you go get me the bowl. Like, go get the son on the chair. So it's conscious time together. And then when you come back in from work, do not go into anything. Don't tell me about how stressful your day is. Check in with your partner. Ask that question: how is everything going? What do you need me to do? Ask that question. Is so important, because if you give an half an hour when you first come in, you'll get more time to yourself after. So make sure you're creating that space, because today might be a day where you got to do the whole evening. You won't know that if you're just like, I need time because the things that happened. Like, break the cycle. After you've done the I just got in element, bedtime. Dads, go do bedtime. Assist, support, sit there, read a book yourself. Mummy reads a book, daddy reads a book. Bedtime. If you do half an hour, let's say do half an hour at each 3 of those times, an hour and a half a day, that's the bare minimum. You will build a real relationship with your children and a pattern. You will know their frequency and what's going on for them. 100%, your partners need help with the mental load. If you don't know your children's doctor, school teacher's name, school they go to by name and address, if you just don't know that stuff, if you don't know their uniform and shoe size, create a notes folder. Just sit down and just be like, so who's the doctor? And just get it in your phone, because I promise you, being able to, like, know where their red book is, know what needs to go in it, know that it's time that they get their MMR or not, what shoe size it is, like, their shoes ain't good, I'm out, I'm going to go get some. If you're not doing that stuff, you're waiting your partner. She can't be her best self while you're letting those things slide. That is by far, if I say those the simplest things, do that hour and a half with your kids. Ask questions every time you leave and come back. If you're coming back into the house, check ahead. Do you need anything? Those things that create ease, and know those fundamentals about your children's life, and actually make sure they're written down. If you ever need to record them, some people don't even know their kid's birthday. It's mad. But your kids' best friends' names, all at school, all those things, know those things, put them in notes and be able to access them. I don't know the best friend's name. Get that, because I know a couple. Because then you can be like, because if you ask your kid, what did you learn at school today, or how was your day at school today, you can get good nothing. Tell me more about Tom. That's true. Have you and John made up yet? Yeah. Or like, who's better at football, you or? And you'll start a whole conversation. Your kid will ramble for half an hour because they're just like, yeah, because I feel like John's better than me, but I'm trying to practice, and he feels he could do 10 kick-ups and I could do 12, so I'm better at him than that. And you'll just learn stuff about your children. So for dads who are starting out, do that. The one quick last thing I want to say is dads who are estranged. I used to struggle with, how do you talk to your kids on the phone? The first thing you have to do is find an easy game. So I would be like, what city am I? I have an Eiffel Tower, and we eat this, and this is in our flag, and this is, and we might sound like this. We say the word bonjour. I'll play a game. And then I used to do another one, which was animal sounds. So if you go on Google and type in animal sounds, you get a whole list of animals. You can press play. I used to play it down the phone. What animal is this? Alligator. What name is this? No, it's not a polar bear. And just a game. Gamify your time. You're not going to get a conversation with your children under 10. That's profound. But gamify little things, and they will really start to enjoy it. We also do Name That Tune. We've built a playlist together. There's a lot of tiny conventions that really help us connect. Lean into those.
have some work to do.
And what about those dads that are estranged that don't want to support their children?
Bro, I honestly, I don't spend time with any man that doesn't attempt to spend time with their children. I don't
rate
trust
that.
you. If you don't look after your child, I don't trust you for nothing.
Facts.
You can't be around me because you'll be so uncomfortable. But I also have empathy for men who have consciously tried and have run out of steam and they're taking a second. I got you. I'm here. You can come and talk to me about it. But my advice to every man, and some men hate this, but it's your responsibility to build a relationship with that estranged partner. Even if they're manipulating, lying, scandal, plotting against you, you have to find a way to find middle ground. There is always one. Because whatever you promised and you undid and it didn't work, 100% is the root cause of it. This is why men have to be so conscious of their word. So conscious. If you say, I'm gonna love you, look after you, I love you, and you're doing all the things, and then the time happens and you're talking about abandonment, I'm not sure, I don't want to do this, and you're stressing me out. It's like, why? Why are you stressing out? Like, people say women are crazy. I say they're crazed. What did you do?
What did you do?
So I investigate and I will walk through their story. And sometimes men have genuine stories of challenge.
Yeah.
But for me, your whole life needs to flip in terms of how do you create capacity to deal with the ball and find a way to get closeness to your children, because the way that they need you, you don't even know. And in that gap, we create another generation of psychosis, disconnected families, women that are overburdened, men who are dying young. By the way, this is our self-service. We're not doing it as just a moral good for women and children. Yeah. It's for us. We die younger. We die alone. We end up in homes without anybody coming to visit us. We don't have friends in our 50s and our 60s. We suffer from loneliness. Suicide and mental health is out of this world. It's for us. Our own self-interest. So yes, all the noble things, messages to women, and we're here and we're going to try to do, but actually we're losing. Women are sitting there 70 years old, surrounded by family, kicking up their feet in the home that we left because we died at 55 from heart failure and blood pressure. We have to make those adjustments. So this noble idea of I'm going to get you a house by working myself to death is a dead idea. Where are all the grandfathers? How many grandfathers around? I don't have none. I don't know. If people have grandfathers, share yours with mine, because I want 70-year-old man wisdom now to be around my people. There's grandmothers up the yin yang, bro. They're everywhere vibing and
Up the
dancing in their socks. We're like, where are we?
It's true.
So yeah, please, like, no more dying at 55. I'm not doing no more GoFundMes and funerals in my 50s. We gotta be healthy, bro.
Come on.
Amen.
What a way to end the episode.
Wow. Heavy.
Honestly, I want more of you, Paul. What can
You ain't got to pause, bro. We're safe, bro. All of us are good, man. We know
Thank
what
you,
we're doing
because
after this.
sometimes I'm around
Thank you.
certain
You
people.
say it the most. What's wrong with you?
But who introduced it into my
I can't
vocabulary?
remember.
Okay,
Sorry, you was
It's
going to say
definitely
something.
you then. No, honestly, I just want to say thank you for having me. Like, I intentionally messaged you because I watched the conversations you were having, the energy you were having it in, and I know people are watching who needed some additional food.
Yes.
I wanted to share my perspective. I understand not everyone will get it, but in time in life, as life evolves, some of it will come of use, and I just wanted to make sure it was in the world.
No, we appreciate you
I
so
swear
much.
we're thankful, bro. The gems you shared, I swear to you, I'm going to make changes. I'm going to tell you.
I'm starting from tonight.
I did it. From tonight, especially the wake up thing in the morning with the kids. I know I don't do that.
I'm going to start doing that.
Yeah,
I'm going to start
Can
doing
I
that.
can I just do one last thing? And this doesn't even have to be in the edit, 'cause
please
it's
don't.
important. Yeah. So because of who you have been, your partners need to hear from you. You have to acknowledge that you have been that person. It doesn't just work to try and turn the switch. The first thing is you have to acknowledge that, like, the way that I've been, and you have to tell them what that may have created for them. That you may have been overloaded, you may have felt like you've been alone, or you've been abandoned, or you haven't been supported the way you should have. If you don't acknowledge that, all your change behavior talk will go through in and out one or the other. Then you have to say that I'm going to make a commitment to you of what I'm trying to be. You have to share what that vision is.
That is, yeah.
You've also got to be like, I need your support in this particular part of it, because sometimes I lack discipline, whether it's going to the gym or like paying bills on time or just doing my side. I don't know these things. I want to know these things. I would love to hear from you what you need from me. and make sure you just leave space.
Space, yeah.
Don't fill in the gaps. Don't but you know what happens with the none of that. Just listen, take it all in, and then thank them for sharing it because it costs them to share it. Once you've said thank you, you would now start to recreate what can be possible in your relationship. I promise you, if you say it with the most authentic, rawest, ugliest part of the truth, they will know you mean it. They will create space for you to be better. And anytime I'm not the best version of myself, give them the language that you can hear. It may not work when they're like, nah, man, you're doing da-da-da-da-da, and you're just hearing like, yo, you're yelling at me. So, but give them the language to get them. I have words that mean a sentence. So if you say a word, I know. Even with my son, it's like, Dad, I can't hear you when you talk to me that way. That's what I've been teaching him to say to me. So if I'm like, but pick up the thing, and he's like, he has language now to talk to me. If someone's like, Marvin, there's tones, there's loads of things that you can be, and that is a sentence. Give those and create that language between you so that in the moment, you know you're not doing your best self, you can regulate yourself and come back to the table. You know that you need to apologize because you've created something for them and it's not what you're here for. So these little things about making sure your partner is aligned to where you're trying to go are important. And then you have to actually fight to be consistent.
That's where the brave battle is.
Yeah,
because I think most people, you do that for 1 week,
and then he goes,
and then you fall right back into the old habits. And
But can I just say, the promise has to be realistic. Don't promise them flowers in
Things
the
that
world
you can't do,
and there's no flower fields around. Promise them what's within your capability now and be honest. If you don't speak to your shadow, I promise you, they will see your shadow and be like, this guy ain't serious. You got to know what your challenges are. Whatever it is, if you can't tell your partner, then maybe that relationship is not going to make it.
Facts, yeah.
So please, that level of honesty, that language, use as much of that structure as possible and be as honest and raw with them. And I promise you, they'll open up to you in a way that you don't know. And they'll watch you and they'll wait to see, but then that's your job to do your part. Thank you, brother.
Amen.
Word.
A lot to do. You've given us a lot of assignments.
And you're gonna hold us accountable.
It's for the better. It's for the best. It's for the good, and it's definitely for. It's like for me, I feel like it's the missing. It's like the missing link. It's like when you're doing the best you can, but it's like it's just something, and then like, I feel like what you've done today, and that's one thing I love about our show. Like we're constantly learning every day through, having guests like yourselves, like people like yourself that's got a wealth of experience in what you actively do. Like, so I really appreciate you, and trust me, more than even the audience, like you're changing our lives right here. And that's a fact. So
I'm here, bro.
We appreciate you so much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You gonna cry?
I'm not gonna cry.
You gonna cry? You gonna cry in the car?
Do you see what I mean?
What did you do?
Having a serious moment, and then he just has to take it there.
We could unpack that, but we ain't got time. But.
That would be our next episode.
No, listen, I'll come back and we'll talk about that.
Yeah. We need to do that.
About
Mandem
what?
chat.
About what? Me?
No, just not about you.
I'm a
just
nice guy.
friends in general and how we.
I check these guys all the time. Make sure they stay in check.
No, thank you, Marvin, for coming on.
Thank you for having me, man.
Brother
Appreciate
Marv,
it.
big brother Marv.
Brother Marv, big bro, yes,
Yeah.
little Marv. Even if
big
he's
one.
not here, little
Lil
Marv.
Marv.
I'm sorry, it's stuck, bro.
So make sure you check out his page.
Facts.
Dads. Also, Marvyn Harrison has his own page as well.
Yeah.
We're gonna link all that in the bio if you want to learn more. And we appreciate you guys watching us. Happy Father's Day. to
Are you
guys
open for
watching.
people to reach out to you as well?
Yeah, hit me, man.
Okay, yeah, cool.
You can hit him, not him. Trust me. Don't waste your time. And yeah, comment, like, subscribe. Let us know what you feel about the episode. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the In My Opinion podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Until next time, peace.